All right, good afternoon, everybody. All right, so as I think everyone is aware, Coach Summerall informed me and informed us that he's accepting the head coaching position at the University of Florida. We're thankful to John and to his family. We have, over the past couple of years, had two conference championship game appearances, 19 wins, a bowl game, and just the continued rise of Green Wave football. He's managed roster turnover and been able to replace great players with new great players. He's established a winning culture, a culture of accountability within the team in a very short period of time. And he's developed our players in a short period of time. You know that in our current setup, you have players that come to you for a year, maybe they only stay a year, and so you have that time period in order to be able to develop them to the best of their ability. He was a pleasure to work with each and every day. He was exactly who we thought we were getting when we went through the hiring process, when we sat in that interview with him, bringing that great energy, bringing that great passion every day, bringing that skill, and most importantly, that leadership of our team and of our program. So we wish him well in this next step in his journey. As we said in our statement, we're allowing him to coach in the conference championship game on Friday, and then if we qualify for the CFP, then he would coach us in that game as well. We just believe that it's the right thing to do for our student athletes, and it gives us the best opportunity to be able to win those games. So John will continue to be our head coach through those circumstances. While we never want to lose a great coach, I think for me and for us, you recognize that when you have some level of success, that this can be what occurs. You take an approach that you want to get the very best that you can for your program, and you make the necessary investments, but you know that there may come a day when they make a decision that another program is a better step for them at that particular period in time. And so you understand and respect that, even though you know that you are losing someone that is significant. It gives you an opportunity to be able to go out and find the next leader for the program. Because we've known that this was a possibility, we've had proactive conversations with John as well as his agent. John and I this season typically met every 2 weeks on Tuesday, so it gave us an opportunity to know and hear and understand what was important to him, much the same way that we did last year. We had lead-up conversations and talked about things that were important to him, and then looked to put together a package, a retention package proactively in order to be able to retain his services. We felt like that was the right thing to do, an important thing to do for us, and even though it ultimately didn't work out with us being able to retain him, I know that's a question that oftentimes people wonder about and wonder if we're doing things behind the scenes to try to make sure that we can hold on to our most prominent coaches, in this situation, Coach Sumrall, so people can rest assured and know that those conversations were had, that we did have that conversation with both John and his agent, and put together what we felt was a very competitive retention package in order to be able to retain his services. As we look over the past, not only 2 years, but look at the past 4 years, I think Tulane football has won 42 games during that time period. And so when you have that type of success, your program rises to a level where it's getting national attention. And we believe that national attention is going to help us identify the next football coach for the Tulane Green Wave. That process has already begun. We are working with CSA Search and Consulting. They did the search in which we hired John, as well as when we hired Coach Langford. They actually did the search when I was hired here as the athletics director. They even did the search when I was hired as the AD at Northern Iowa. So I have a long-standing relationship with Drew Turner, and they do a phenomenal job in these situations. Justin Schimmel, our COO in athletics, and Patrick Norton, the COO on campus, will be assisting me in the search process. While we don't have an exact timeline on how long the search will take, we will obviously be looking to move as quickly as we possibly can to find our next head coach. Some of the qualities that we will look for in the next coach include leadership, a proven track record of success, ability to recruit both high schools and in the transfer portal, intelligence, high character, high integrity, a love for our student athletes and a commitment to their development as young men. Passion, the person needs to be a great communicator, has the ability to manage the roster from a revenue sharing pool benefit standpoint, the ability to put together a great staff. I think every head coach that you would ever talk to says that they're only as good as the staff that they're able to surround themselves with. So that'll be something that we're assessing. The ability to be a great teammate in our department, as well as being great in engaging those in our community. And ultimately, I would just say we're looking for a winner. We're looking for someone that we believe will continue the trajectory of the program. And so having a chance to be able to sit down with these candidates will be an important thing for us because there are certain things that you can tell on paper, and then there are others that you assess based on the energy that the person brings into the room, the way that they answer questions, their plan, their vision. Those will all be things that we're considering with the next coach. And finally, before I open it up to questions, I just want to say thank you to our fans and our supporters for your support and your passion. Know that we see and hear you when you're making comments, whether through social media, through email, or through other mediums. We understand the love and the passion and care that you have about Tulane football, and we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we continue to move forward in a positive direction. But ultimately, I would say we want to build the foundation of a program that's bigger than any one individual, bigger than a head coach, bigger than the athletics director. We want to do the work that builds the foundation that no matter what happens as we go forward, we feel like we have the pieces in place to continue to have a championship caliber program. And that's where our fans and supporters are really critical for us because they provide that energy, they provide that financial support, they buy season tickets, they come to our games, they travel on the road, they do all of the things that big time programs do. And so we're very appreciative of what they do to support us each and every day. There's always concerns about when you have a change in coaches about whether or not you're going to take a step backwards or continue to go forward. We are intending to continue to move forward in a very positive direction. We believe that we have great things to build on. We believe that we have an elite job. We believe that we have the right job for the right person, someone who wants to come in and take on the challenge, understands what we're playing for, understands the position that we've been fortunate to put ourselves into, and wants to be a part of elevating the program even further. So to those who support us, please continue to bring your passion, your presence, your finances, your energy. It makes a difference to our coaches. It makes a difference to our student athletes, as well as our prospective student athletes and their families. Let's continue to pull together as a Green Wave family, but most importantly, let's stand behind this team as they have an opportunity to play for a championship on Friday against North Texas. They deserve that support from all of us for the great season that they've had. So we all look forward to watching our team play for a championship on Friday night. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Just remind everyone, we're going to use the microphone again, just like we do on Tuesdays and postgames. So please raise your hand, and we will get to you.
With Sumrall still wanting to coach this Friday and, possibly moving forward as well, how much gratitude do you have with him wanting to do that? And also, was that an easy decision for you, or was it tough in deciding that?
A tremendous amount of gratitude, and that's something that we talked about a few weeks ago, just looking at what the possibilities may be. And so when you look at everything that will go into having him continue to coach the team, just really appreciative that he has the love and concern of his players, first and foremost in his mind, that he wants to help them continue to have a great season, to be able to finish the right way, to be able to go and play for a championship. And so for me, when I thought about trying to do this the right way, trying to do what's in the best interest of the team, who was going to help us have the best chance to be able to win the game, and looking at it from a big picture, it just became the obvious decision that he was in the best situation to be able to continue to coach the team. So we feel very fortunate that he will continue to be here in that role. We think the team is excited about working under his leadership and going after this championship, and then potentially for a CFP game after that. And so it became the right decision for Tulane Athletics.
Is head coaching experience a requirement? Like head coaching experience at the collegiate level a requirement for whoever you will hire?
I think it is certainly a positive benefit. I can't tell you that definitively the person that we hire is going to have head coaching experience. I would say we're looking for the very best candidate. That person may have head coaching experience. They may be a sitting head coach. They might be a coordinator. I think, obviously, when you've been in a position to sit in that chair, there's just experiences that you've had and responsibilities that you've had and a perspective that you bring that's just a little bit different. And so those with head coaching experience will probably have a leg up in a search like this. But ultimately, when you're looking at the big picture, you're trying to assess all of it and sit down in front of the person that you feel like is best to be able to lead the program. And so we're going to keep our options open to consider a number of different candidates and then make the best decision that we can.
In the back, you laid it out, 42 wins in 4 years, reached the American title game, first team ever, I guess, to reach the title game 4 years in a row. Do you feel like, and even with the playoff implication, do you feel like this is the most attractive job across the group of five right now?
Well, I'm biased, so yes. I feel like it is absolutely an elite job. You can look across the group of five. You can look at some Power Four opportunities. I feel based on our history, based on the trajectory, based on the resources that are being invested, based on the fan support, on the way that our players come to play each and every time they go out. If you look at the infrastructure that we have in the department and the number of people that work together to try to give the support that the team needs to go out and have success, people whose names that you probably don't know, but they do so many great things behind the scenes for the program, then yes, we feel like we have a fantastic job, a great opportunity for the right person, and we don't believe we take a back seat to anybody in that regard.
David, back here, how much has Sumrall's transparency eased this process and made it better for you guys to position yourselves to find the next coach?
Yeah, it's been great. And John, from the first time I ever met him to the most recent conversation we've had, he's always been nothing but transparent. He'll tell you what he thinks. He'll tell you what he feels. He's always going to be very honest. And so as we've engaged in conversation during this process, it's been great for me because you don't have to worry or wonder what's going on or maybe what you're not being told. John was very open with me about the possibility of these opportunities and what he was thinking about and what he was interested in doing. And so that transparency helped me personally a great deal.
Over here. As with everything that we've seen, particularly today and last week, and obviously you guys are facing a team on Friday night that's in the same boat that you're in right now with a coach who's going to coach but already knows he's taking another job. Is the college football calendar broken, and just your thoughts overall on the status of that, and, without reinventing it at the podium, does something need to change there?
I don't know if it's broken, but I know from our standpoint for this process, it doesn't work very well, right? It puts student athletes and coaches in awkward positions, and if there were a way that these types of decisions can be made and movements can be made during a time where it wasn't having an impact on the regular season or a championship season or as you get ready for the CFP, I think that would be good for the sport. I think you hear people a lot of times talk about the way that the NFL does it and having a certain time period where you're not allowed to have these conversations and a certain time where those conversations can occur. I think that would be better for everyone. Now, it'll take somebody smarter than me to figure out the best way to be able to go about doing that, but I do think it creates problems on a number of different levels. And if we can get some smart people together and figure out a better way to do it, I think our student athletes, coaches, all of our programs in just the sport will be better because of it.
Right here in the business world, a lot of people that are heads of businesses will keep a few names in their hip pocket for the future, knowing that something like this could happen. Is that something you've been doing?
Certainly, I think if you're an athletics director, you always have names that you're, I guess the best way to say it is constantly looking at and evaluating in the event that something would occur. And when you have John Summerall as your coach, and you know that he's having the success that he's had, and you know that we're sort of able to successfully fend off a situation from last year, you know, you'd be crazy to not think that this could occur at any time. And so it's in your best interest to make sure that you have, whether you call it a short list or whatever you'd like to call it, to have a list of people that you feel that you can begin to evaluate if there was an opportunity where you needed to replace your head coach. So I think that's fairly common in the profession, and it becomes more necessary the more success you have and the more that your coach is pursued by other programs.
Will this coaching carousel ever stop for Tulane? What would have to happen for the coaching carousel to be nonstop? It seems like another move up to a different conference, or what are the other options?
Well, that makes the assumption that other schools don't lose their coaches, Power 4 programs don't lose their coaches. We know that they do. And so there's always going to be movement, and certainly we've had our fair share here recently. So I don't think I can speculate what it would take to keep coaches from moving, because that's a coach's decision. That's a personal decision for that coach and their spouse and their family. But as I said, you can look at Ole Miss, my alma mater, just lost their coach to LSU. So if the thought is, hey, getting to the Power 4 is always going to be the end goal, and once that happens, then coaches don't leave, we can see that happens even at the Power 4 level. So I don't know that there's ever such a thing as getting to a certain program and knowing that coach is never going to depart for another opportunity, because that's a deeply personal decision, and coaches have to make that choice really coinciding with what they think is in their best interest.
I know there's no way to do a timetable for this hiring, but how quickly is the interview process going to start? Is it going to start this week? And can you kind of take us through that a little bit?
Yes, it will start this week, because we've had somewhat of a lead up or a ramp up to this. We have been able to do some work behind the scenes to prepare for that process. So again, we don't know how long it'll take, but we're jumping into those conversations immediately and hope to identify somebody quickly.
I understand. A sticking point with John was the fact that the student athletes have to stay on campus for 3 years, which is a campus-wide rule, not an athlete rule, and he was trying to get that changed. Is there a chance that could be changed or amended for certain groups to be able to move off campus after their freshman year?
Well, those decisions are above my head in many regards. So John and I did talk about that on several occasions. I think as we go forward, we'll continue to have those conversations with the appropriate people on campus to try to find different solutions. I don't think there's ever just one way to be able to solve an issue. And so we'll be looking for opportunities to try to make sure that the experience that our student athletes are having at our university is a positive one. And so we'll look at every opportunity we have to be able to do that.
How will the December recruiting period work for you guys if John is staying but kind of going somewhere else?
Yeah, so for us, John continues to be our head coach, and so he will be working with his recruiting staff and with his assistant coaches, and I'll be working with them as well to be able to make sure that we bring in our recruiting class here next week. there could be changes and things that happen. We all know that that can happen when you have a change in head coach. But ultimately, there's no secret behind that. Those who have been doing that job will continue to do that work. John and I have had that conversation, and he's assured me that he will be working on behalf of Tulane football to help bring in the very best class that he can during that time period. And so we trust the work that he's going to do, the work that he's doing with his staff, and we're certainly available to be able to fill in any way to make sure that we keep the momentum going forward.
And are you under the impression that John might want some members of his staff to go with him? And on the other side, are there members of the current staff that you feel might be interested or qualified to put their hat in the ring for the next head coaching job?
So to your first question, that's ultimately a question for John. I would let him decide and speak on if he has people in mind to be able to go with him. To your second question, we're interested in running a search that considers a wide diversity of candidates, and I would imagine that some of those could be on the staff currently. They have an experience and a perspective, having been here, that we think is important to have a conversation with, and so I look forward to having those conversations.
Or that you would like to, look for hypothetically a sitting head coach. One of the things you said before was looking for someone with a proven track record. If it wasn't to be, someone that had head coaching experience, how do you kind of quantify that quality?
Yeah, so if it's a coordinator, you can look at the success of their offense or their defense, how they're ranked with the kind of success that they've had. It's not the same metric, so to speak, that you would use for a head coach. But when you get into a position of leadership like that, there are things that you can look at that give a sense of whether or not the defense is performing well or the offense is performing well, or whether or not they're making contributions that are helping that team win games, whether they've done it at multiple schools, so they have a track record of arriving, figuring things out, and then putting a better product on the field based on their time and based on their leadership. So those are the type of things you look at.
In a recruiting perspective, with Coach Sumrall coaching here prior, having some experience recruiting in Louisiana, do you look for a coach that perhaps has that experience of being able to recruit in-state?
I think that would certainly be a benefit, but I can't tell you that, hey, if they don't have that, then they're just not going to be considered. I think when John was hired, that was certainly something that caught our attention. We will look to see if there are other candidates who may have that, but the successful candidate might not have that as a part of their portfolio. So it's something we'll pay attention to, but it's not going to be, hey, if they don't have that, then they're not going to be considered for the position.
This is a broader question here, but can everyone hear me? Okay. So obviously you saw your alma mater did not want their current coach to remain for a potential playoff run. I don't know how comfortable you are with the concerns they had, but did you have to weigh any similar concerns here, or do you feel like the situations were just so different that they're not really comparable?
Mm-hmm. I guess I would start with my relationship with John. I feel like we have a good, honest, open relationship. And he's been very clear from the very beginning, I want the success at Tulane to continue. I'm not looking to do anything to hurt this program on my way out the door. I'm not looking to spend time over the next couple of weeks trying to find ways to recruit people off of this team. Later on, when the transfer portal opens, if guys decide that they want to get into the portal on their own, and I think that they have the kind of talent to play at University of Florida, then sure, I can have conversations with them at that time. But right now, I am interested in focusing their efforts on being here and being a part of what we have going on here. And so as he said that to me and talked to me about it, I think first and foremost, I believe in and trust him to be a man of his word. I've never known him to be anything other than that. And then secondly, I think about the relationships that would allow a student athlete or put a student athlete in a position that they wanted to leave and go with the coach. Those have already been established, right? So it's not like somebody's going to have had a terrible or average relationship, but then coach makes this decision, and in a 2 or 3 week period, there's a relationship that's developed that causes them to take them to another school. So in other words, I know there's a concern about, hey, you have a coach who's declared for another university, but he's still here, he's going to do this and that with your program. I believe that in many cases, any relationship that might lead to that happening later on has already been established. And then I think it also makes a difference, as we were talking about the Ole Miss situation, those schools are in the same conference. And in our situation, there's a different dynamic in that regard. So the concern isn't quite the same. But I think for us, I know that my mind was squarely on what's in the best interest of those kids, of those young men. And I couldn't think of a better way to go about doing this than giving them the opportunity to play in their biggest game of the year with their coach. And so that ended up really ruling the day for me and for us. Other schools have the right to make the decision based on the criteria that they feel is important. But we were thinking about the best interests of the student athletes, the best opportunity to win the game, and to keep that continuity that has served us well the entire season.
Taken away from Summerall specifically, just about the handful of coaches that are moving on from the conference, what does that say for you? What does that say about the success of the conference?
Yeah, great question. The American is a fantastic conference. I mean, just looking at what you saw happen today and what's happened within the past week, I think it's, 4 coaches that are going to these other programs. We play a phenomenal brand of football. And I think people see that we have a great product. We have student athletes that are ultimately going to play on Sundays. They play their hearts out each and every time. They go out, they have great skill. They have great tenacity. Just across the board, there's a reason why these games are so challenging, why you can't take any of them for granted, regardless of the record that the team may have, because these teams are enjoying great coaching. They have great leadership. And those coaches have those teams up and ready to play each and every week. So if you hadn't been paying attention out there to the American, it's really a conference that you need to watch, because we show each and every week that we play great football. I believe we have great sports programs across the entire conference. But since we're talking about football, I think the results speak for themselves. I think seeing all these coaches being hired speaks for itself. And I think our future continues to be incredibly bright in this conference. We have a great commissioner who's forward-thinking and proactive and wants to do some things a little bit differently to try to open some doors for us. So I think in combination with his leadership, with the great presidents that we have, the athletics directors and the coaches, the American Conference is a conference that everybody needs to be watching.
Back here, David. I know you talked about how easy it's been, or easier it has been, thanks to John's transparency, but rest in peace. But I remember Ed Daniels asking you the very first time when you got introduced about what are you going to do about Willie Fritz whenever he had his status in question. With your establishment already being here a couple of years now, how much does you already being rooted here also help when it comes to the head coaching search?
It does help. You feel like you know the lay of the land. On the other hand, I was just thinking about this morning. In some ways, the previous time was easier because nobody knew me, and I wasn't really here yet, so nobody had my phone number. So I wasn't getting phone calls and texts and everybody wanting to recommend and push this person and contact this person. I wasn't even around, so I could just do the search without that type of distraction. But I can clearly see that that's not going to be the case this time around. But having said that, yes, to feel like you have a lay of the land of the university, the department, the people, the history, the city, all of those things put you in a position where you feel a little bit more comfortable going into this next search.
Over here, David. The one last one for me. Sorry, I forgot this earlier. This is probably more of a John question, but how did he break it to his team? Were you there when that happened? And what was the reaction, if you were there?
I was. So he talked to the team. Here this afternoon, we had a team meeting at 1 o'clock, and so I was able to go and be there for the meeting. I would say the really interesting thing is, because as John has talked about the transparency that he has had with the team the whole time, it didn't feel like he was coming in to drop an unexpected bomb. It was I'm not going to say matter of fact, but He did it in such a way to where he gave them the information that they needed to know, but quickly pivoted back to what we were here to get accomplished this week. He clearly didn't want the meeting to be about him. He didn't want the meeting to be about what he was looking to do next year. He wanted it to be about the guys in that room. And so I had a chance to be able to speak to the team right after he did. And I had the same concern and the same goal in mind. People will figure out what's going to happen next, and there's plenty of time to be able to have those conversations. But during the week when you have a chance to be able to prepare, to play for and win a championship, you don't want anything, even something this significant, to be what those guys are focusing on. So I would say he approached it in a way that he said what he needed to say, kept the focus where it needed to be, and so because of that, the guys' reaction was positive. I know that they're not happy to be losing their coach, but I think they felt very positive that the direction of the program for this week, the focus, the goals that they had all season were not going to be impacted.
All good? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.